The avoidance behavior is not your fault. You didn't make them pull away. You didn't make them shut down. You didn't make them feel overwhelmed. You didn't make them discard you. The responsibility of the relationship's success or failure does not squarely fall on your shoulders. Two people are in the relationship, and both people have an equal responsibility. Stop blaming yourself for their side of the street. If you've been discarded or pulled away from, chances are you're probably saying to yourself, if I wasn't just so needy, if I wasn't so emotional, if I just needed less, if I just gave them more space, then maybe they would still be in the relationship. Maybe they would still want me and still love me. You can't make them do anything. You can't make anybody do anything. The only person you can control is you. If a healthy person had issues with how you are showing up in the relationship, they would directly communicate them to you. They wouldn't shut down. They would hold boundaries if needed. They wouldn't just abruptly discard you. They wouldn't give you no closure and no communication. No, those are signs of an unhealthy person, and you did not make the avoidant emotionally unhealthy. You didn't make them emotionally immature. You didn't make it so they can't communicate, that they lack emotional capacity. Those are their issues that stem from their childhood. You didn't make them that way. The only responsibility you have is on your side of the street. And having basic wants and needs, wanting love, connection, and basic communication is not being needy, and it doesn't make somebody pull away and shut down. But it does trigger a person that's emotionally unavailable and emotionally immature, because healthy relationship behaviors trigger them. When you're blaming yourself for their behavior, this is essentially what you're telling yourself. You're saying, I'm responsible for my own behavior. I'm responsible for how I show up. I'm responsible for my feelings. And I'm responsible for the avoidance feelings. I'm responsible for the avoidance behavior. I'm responsible for their actions. I'm responsible for both myself and I'm responsible for what they do and how they feel. But the avoidant, they're not responsible for me, and they're not responsible for themselves. They're not responsible for anything. All the responsibility is on me. I'm responsible for 2 people. They're responsible for 0. Make that make sense. It doesn't make sense. You can't make them do anything, and you certainly cannot make them show up as an unhealthy partner. They make themselves show up as an unhealthy partner. The only thing that you can do is take ownership of your side of the street, meaning work on yourself. And the number one thing that you can do to be more secure is to start respecting your needs and feelings as valid. You're allowed to want connection. You're allowed to want communication. You're allowed to want closeness. As a matter of fact, those are healthy things to want. Start understanding that your feelings and needs are not wrong. Just because healthy, normal needs are more than a dismissive avoidant who's emotionally unavailable is willing to give, that doesn't mean that you're wrong for having it. It just means that they're not the right partner for you. If you're looking for something deep, connected, with a partner that is also of a growth mindset, that wants to learn and grow as an individual and together as a couple along with you through the journey of life, that's not your person. So instead of blaming yourself for their behavior, start looking at yourself and saying, how can I show up for myself? How can I learn to start holding boundaries and respect my own wants and needs as valid and show up for myself? So I'm not ruminating on an emotionally immature, emotionally unavailable person that never had the capacity to love me anyway.